gentlemen, welcome to this episode of BDuBs Thoughts. This is your host BDuB, and on today's show, I have a very special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody out there, the fans of Wrestle Talk with Bear and BDuB, the fans of BDuBs Thoughts, and the fans of PW Journal, please come on in and give welcome to the one, the only, the real Dwayne Allen.
Wrestling fans, what's up? It's your boy, of course, yours truly, your World Heavyweight Champion, the real Dwayne Allen. And today I'm here with Mr. Main Event himself, BDuB, to discuss a special episode of BDuBs Thoughts. BDuB, take it away.
Let's go. You know, this week, it's been real. We've seen title changes.
Title changes?
Twice in the week, you know. We've witnessed, perhaps, in my opinion, the best pay-per-view in a long time. And from start to finish, that was the Extreme Rules. Now, I knew that right after WrestleMania, the WWE was going to have to do something.
Exactly.
Because I remember when WrestleMania was so bad, I got on the phone, I called the Real up, and I said, Real, I just don't get it. What happened? The pay-per-view was built so well. We waited so long, and then it just absolutely sucked.
I think you bring up a valuable point, BDuB. Interesting enough, it seems as if WWE dropped the ball with WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And I agree. Something needed to be done. Something extreme, something drastic, because the business keeps growing and keeps going, and it never stops for anyone. So, with WWE dropping the ball at WrestleMania, Extreme Rules was the follow-up. And I think they followed up real well.
Most definitely. From start to finish, like I said, starting off with Orton and Punk,
Straight out the gate, yeah.
It was a good match, We also had the debut of Karma. For those who don't know, used to be Awesome Kong over in down south TNA. She came out there, and you saw these vignettes of her plucking Barbie dolls, ripping Barbie dolls' heads off.
Very vicious.
And, why not come out and destroy the best Barbie doll of them all, the one and only Michelle McCool?
Very true. Like you said, for those who don't know, Karma was once again Awesome Kong in Total Non-Stop Action Wrestling, known as TNA, of course. And she pretty much dominated the Knockouts division there. And her debut was very, very much of an impact. And with Michelle McCool on her way out, a statement was truly made. Oh, yeah,
she sent her straight to hell. Excuse my expression,
True.
But then we also had... And then hold on, before I go into that, did you see how terrified everyone looked in the back?
They were shook.
Yes.
I've never seen the women's division that so much at a standstill in my time of watching professional wrestling, and including the Divas division. They all were standing at the monitor looking quite stunned at what had just occurred.
Yeah.
I mean, the build-up was there for a while, and you knew she was going to strike eventually, but what an impact she definitely made.
Yeah, exactly, and whew, but then moving on, we also had, we had quite a few good matches, as you guys remember me reviewing Extreme Rules. But the match that took over the show, without a doubt, was Christian winning his first World Heavyweight Championship in the WWE.
I agree.
It was an awesome match. I remember I sat there, and it was times, it gave you that surprise factor, because at times you just knew Del Rio was going to win the match, and you was like, no, because all he kept saying, it's my destiny. But no. Destiny had been delayed yet again. And, what did you think about that match?
Oh, it's like you said, the Christian, since his return to WWE, people have complained and whined and have been a little concerned about him not receiving the push that they felt he should. Of course, leaving the WWE originally and jumping to TNA, he made a huge jump in his career. He elevated his game, and as well as taking TNA to the next level as being a true competitor in professional wrestling. His return back was just as epic as him actually jumping to TNA in the first place. And to finally have that moment where the torch was finally passed to Christian, we all have been waiting for such a long time. Christian's peeps were waiting for that one moment for him to finally get to the main event and finally grasp that title of being a world heavyweight champion. Like you said, it was touch and go at a long time because they had been building Rio for a very long time. And like I said, you know, people question whether McMahon would actually allow Christian to get to the point where he could dominate the show and become that top competitor. So to see him finally grasp that title and have him celebrate with his longtime friend Edge there, it was a very special night.
Oh yeah, certainly. You know, then moving on to the WWE Championship. This very belt right here, you know, the bottom line was it was a good match, but it still couldn't follow up on Christian's night. You know, that was Christian's night to be had.
I agree.
But, I mean, John Cena, yet again, this is your boy. You know, his boy, you know, he's the only Cena fan in Baltimore.
C-Nation, baby, right here.
You know, John Cena winning it, what, 10 times, you know, something like. I didn't realize that he hadn't had the belt in 10 months, you know.
I mean, because he's just that big of a deal. I mean, you got to give it up to the guy. The guy can carry a company single-handedly on his back without any issues at all. The guy can be the biggest thing, the biggest deal, the main event of the show without even having the title. So him getting the title back makes it such a shocker because it's like, well, you know what? You expect Cena to have it anyway, so why not give it to him? There you go.
Well, I guess so. I guess so. But then, you know, let's move on to Monday Night Raw, where we witness the great one celebrating his 39th birthday. And that's what I want to know. When did 39 become a milestone age?
39 became a milestone age when The Rock's birthday happened to be when he turned 39.
Okay.
That's when it happened.
I mean, they poured out everybody. LeBron James.
They brought out the stops.
Dwayne Wade.
They definitely did.
How about Maya? Whoa!
Yeah.
You know, and everybody, every time you look, Samuel L. Jackson, all types of movie stars. People The Rock have touched in Hollywood. People The Rock have touched in the sports world. You know. And then, you know, I mean, you had, now in my opinion, and this is my opinion, they didn't need that Cena Miz match that night. Mm-hmm. I would have waited. It was a good match, excellent match at that, you know. The Miz is truly developing, you know.
Oh, definitely, I agree.
And, you know, because he's awesome. He's definitely one of my favorites out there right now. He's definitely, like I said, he's developing, and, you know, you're going to see a lot of The Miz. And for him to come out there and perform, you know, he didn't get the title. You know, he put on a good show. I was mad because I'm like, since when does the ref actually go back? He didn't even see the play. I mean, excuse me, I'm thinking about, he didn't even see the disqualification move. But, you know, nonetheless, Cena still walks on with the belt, yada, yada, yada. But let's move on to Smackdown.
Smackdown, okay.
What a night. You know, first of all, the people, or as Christians, peeps decided who would be...
I happen to be a peep.
Yeah, who would be his first title defense. And, you know, they chose Randy Orton. So, the whole night being built around that. You know, you got a chance to see good wrestling between Daniel Bryan and Sheamus. You know, I thought that was a really good match. Oh,
definitely. I mean, those guys have a lot of chemistry. They continue to prove, you know, their in-ring skills. Just very technical.
And you heard it here, folks. You're going to be seeing that headline in a couple of pay-per-views within the next 6 years.
I agree.
You know, if they, you know, you'll see a Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan perhaps for the World Championship or the WWE Championship. But you know, nonetheless, that was a good match. How about Karma coming out there again? God dang it! Out of all people, she destroyed one of my favorite divas in the lovely Miss Alicia Fox.
Karma has one of the most scariest entrances, presences ever in the WWE sense. I'm going to say late Undertaker, Ministry of Darkness.
Because you was right. That's what right there. That's what I was thinking.
You know, because when she comes out there, I mean, you see Divas matches. Her presence is so effective, the way she's been built, that when you see a Divas match, you're terrified. Because you're sitting there like, okay, here comes the Divas match. Uh-oh. You already know what's about to happen, and you never know what's going to strike. And then you hear that eerie laugh, and it's like, uh-oh, here she comes. And then you never know she's come out to brutalize, because she leaves one alone, but she takes one out.
And Layla haultailed out of there. But the thing that hurt so bad, the fact that you could just see, you know, first of all, Alicia got up there, and she was like, She went at her. Now, she probably shouldn't have kicked her in the stomach. I mean,
that probably wasn't the best thing for her to do.
Yeah, she probably should have took a chair or something.
Yeah.
But, you know, she hit her in the head or pulled the braids or something. I don't know. But she ain't have a chance. But she sat up there. She kicked her a couple of times. And then next thing you know, like, uh-oh. And, boy, did you see that fall.
Oh, yeah, that was terrible. Yeah, she's going to need, you know, She's gonna need some recovery time after that, but she just felt completely wrong. I mean, Kong that's a big broad. So.
Oh yeah, and then there she goes up, and I guess what you want to call it, the implant buster, the implant.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they renamed it yet.
Yeah,
I mean, but the implant buster.
We'll call that what goes around comes around.
What goes around comes around.
And when she got hit, what goes around comes around.
Yeah,
that was it. And but nonetheless, Alicia's gonna go back and get her.
Definitely.
Got the faith. Come on, Alicia. We're rooting for you.
I applaud you for trying.
Yeah. And then, moving back on to, as a risk of sounding like Michael Cole, moving on to other things. Tyson Kidd and Sin Cara.
Yeah. Surprisingly.
Now, this is my thing about Sin Cara's finish.
Okay.
You can't make that believable to me.
Okay. I understand. You could, and you notice that, he only, he wrestles a certain type of guy. The matchups are very keen. The lightweights or the cruiserweight division, or whatever you want to call it, because I guess with certain competitors, you're not going to be able to pull it off because you got to be able to make that believable. I think the build is right, but I don't look at it as such a negative thing because it gives the lighter weight wrestlers, the cruiserweights, a chance to reshine now around a new star. I think he's probably the biggest mass Mexican wrestler since. Rey Mysterio, not disregarding Del Rio, who also happens to be, of Mexican descent, who made such a big influence. But people view Sin Cara as possibly the future replacement of what Rey Mysterio stood for in the WWE to capture that, Hispanic audience who loved the Lucha Libre style of wrestling, who also missed the cruiserweight divisions that we saw during the 90s era or the Monday Night War eras with WCW and their very talented and legendary cruiserweight division. His moves are very flashy, very fast, very quick pace. I think eventually he's going to have to expand out on that, to make him a legit contender, to see more believable. I mean, so far I like the build, and I noticed the Chavo Guerrero getting in the ring, and it seems like that's probably the one who's probably going to take the first shot at Sin Cara. And by him being a veteran to the game,
especially the Mexican style.
Definitely, their styles are compatible. Yeah. They know how to work with each other, and Chavo, I think, will definitely push Sin Cara to the limit, which will make him the superstar that it needs to become for the near future for the WWE and for the Smackdown brand in and of itself.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting, but
True.
How many times, Sin Cara, every time he runs out there, he got hops, almost like Michael Jordan. And man jumps over the rope a couple of times. I'm like, he almost missed. The first time he came out there, he was a little excited. But he was that close. But speaking of missing, it just made me think of something. You remember, did you see Del Rio's fall from off the, when Christian knocked her down to get the heavyweight belt?
Yes, I did.
Whoa! Hey, we would have been having different conversations.
That was another close one.
This might have been a memorial show. If, Del Rio, he got a lot of work to do. And I say that because, homeboy, he wrestled a much better match at Extreme Rules, but, what was that? WrestleMania, he dropped the ball.
I think
clearly. I mean, I guess he was trying to play it safe for Edge, but nonetheless, he dropped the ball. But moving on to the most, the worst part of the night, the low point of the evening. Might have been the best SmackDown match in a long time.
I will admit that. Yes, it was.
But the World Heavyweight Championship match.
Oh boy,
where this guy Randy Orton sat up there and defeated this guy Christian. For you guys who can't see,
that's Christian right here
for the World Heavyweight Championship.
You probably can't see that, but that's right there.
And oh my goodness, I mean, it was a phenomenal match. But why?
Why? The match was off the charts, and like I was telling BDuB before, at first I didn't want to watch it because I like most people, I saw the spoilers and I was outraged as everybody else. And usually I pride myself on being on top of the business and noticing the direction they're going in. But as a fan, they got me, and as BDuB will say, they got you too this time because they definitely got me.
Yeah.
The match was outstanding in my opinion. I mean, the way they worked together in the ring was just, I was just like, wow, it had me on the edge of my seat from start to finish, and I was so upset to see the end result of it. But after watching it, I sort of made sense of what they were trying to do. I noticed now that Christian being up top and then losing the title to Randy Orton, who's already an established world champion, being the title that Christian grabbed for the first time, the buzz may not be so huge, even though he seems to have a strong following that has caused enough ruckus on Twitter and Facebook and WWEuniverse.com to have a lot of people ruffled within the WWE and actually responding back to the fans. But at least it allows Christian to be a top player. He's going to be the challenger for the World Heavyweight Championship, and they'll get to travel across the world and be that main event over and over again. And they'll develop a program on television through pay-per-views, and they can continue to put on outstanding matches. Where if that's the first of it, I don't just them keep outdoing themselves to top the next one and the next one after that. Yep. So I look forward to the program, but just like many of Christian's peeps, I hate to see him lose it so soon after it took so long for him to finally grab the brass ring for the first time.
17 years, it's so much emotion. When he won that title, you could see the tears, the blood, sweat, and tears. And then even when he came out there to do his victory speech, he still had those tears, And I just kept like, man, but guess what? That was the match they gave to us for free.
That is true.
Now, you imagine what they would do at Over the Limit if that is a rematch, which I'm pretty sure is going to get his rematch because it's in the clause.
True. Do
you imagine the type of match we'll be treated to, ladies and gentlemen? I can't wait.
Oh, I mean, they did what they needed to do. They gave us a little bit and then they took it away from us to keep us wanting more.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good way to in today's business nowadays, so it doesn't get stale. Where we've lost that shock value because of the internet, but they found another way to keep us watching, and I applaud the WWE for what they've done. But I am definitely interested in this program that I just have to see where it exactly goes. And like you said, Over the Limit, who knows? I mean, that was what we got on Smackdown. Like you said, that was the free one. Right. I'm like, whoa, these guys went all out at Smackdown. What are these guys going to do on the next level at a pay-per-view?
And you know what? I'm gonna say this for the first time, in my opinion, for the first time since 2002, when the draft was introduced to us, SmackDown was a better program than Raw.
I agree 100%. I mean, usually when you watch the wrestling show, sometimes if it doesn't hold you, you tend to flip. You come back to it, but I actually watched SmackDown from start to finish. And what I want to say is, BDuB, if you don't mind me going,
go ahead, tell them.
I noticed usually for most of us who don't take the WWE Divas division very seriously, when the match comes on, we usually change the channel. But I noticed recently, I said, you know what? When that match came on, I didn't change the channel because you know what? I knew what was going to happen. I knew the minute that match started, you're going to hear that eerie music, and I want to see who Kong was going to take out next. Karma and WWE layman's terms. They're going to take some getting used to the transition of the name.
Yeah,
but,
certainly.
I mean, I didn't realize. I said, you know what? I didn't even change the channel when the Divas came on because I wanted to see what was going to happen next. The match wasn't so bad in itself. Very short. I can see they're trying to push Layla. After the whole Lake split, she decided to stay with the company as Michelle McCool goes off. And for those you don't know, off camera, she is married to The Undertaker. So she believed that taking time off to spend time with her husband, was more important right now than the business. And I think they understood that. And, I applaud her for knowing when to step away from the business, to cater to your personal life so you don't go crazy and miss out on the small joys in life like marriage. But, but back to, the concept of the whole idea, I mean, just the show from top to bottom, I mean, it kept me watching.
Yeah, certainly. And you know what? It's so funny because, Karma has came in and changed the whole division. It almost makes you think, what if she would have began her career in the WWE? She's probably the best thing since Jazz. And you know what? I did an interview. I'm going to give a special shout out to Miss Lily Mae from out of Texas, independent, up-and-coming wrestler. If you don't know who she is, check her out on YouTube because I promise you, you will be impressed. I want to give a shout out to her. Check me out on PW Journal and on BDuBstarts.blogspot.com because there's a special in-depth print interview with her. She told me that one of her best matches is she was in a tag team match.
Right.
And her tag team partner escapes my name, so please forgive me on that one. But she said she was in a tag match against Awesome Kong and Jazz.
Whoa.
And, I'm sitting there, and I'm reading this, and I'm saying, Awesome Kong and Jazz. And the reason I'm just to say Awesome Kong, because that's who she was in that match. But Awesome Kong and Jazz in the same match as one team. And she said the thing about that match was, we talked, and she was telling me that was the first time she bled. Jazz caught her by accident, but she was a sport. She took it. Man, imagine if Jazz did come back to the WWE.
I mean, that's just that sounds almost unspeakable. You have two of the most dominant women's wrestlers of our generation on the same side. I mean, that's vicious. I'm not too many men would want to step in the ring with them.
You know what? And I'm gonna make an open challenge out there. You know, to her right there, Miss Joan Laura. I can't pronounce the name right now. But China. And the reason why I'm gonna make an open challenge is, why in the world would she go to TNA as the WWE's Divas division is getting to its height? Can you imagine China and Karma in the same ring together? And Beth Phoenix?
Oh, that draws.
Oh,
that draws.
That would be a match that you wouldn't want to put before your world title match, because you know that's the match usually where you go, you know, if you're watching and you at home or you at a bar, you go to the bathroom. You know, that's the purpose that the lumberjack match served this past week.
True.
But you wouldn't want to put that match there. But you know, and China, I want to know, if you're watching, why in the world did you not go back to the WWE? You know, you went to TNA, you took the low road out. Is that what? You know what? I'm still a fan of yours, because I can't wait to see what goes on. I might actually tune into TNA because she's over there. Well, maybe the real won't tune in, but I might tune in. But I still would wonder, and I'm going to continue to wonder, what would happen if China was up there against Karma?
BDuB, I would tell you what happened. Pure anarchy. Women's division would skyrocket to the moon and finally get that luster that people have been dying to see for years. I think it will bring prestige and meaning back to the women's division of the WWE. And I think, it's sky's the limit. I mean, you bring back previous fans of hers and introduce another generation to another legit women's wrestler who actually held the Intercontinental title at one time. Whether you agree with it or not, that's still legendary for the women and the women's division and a lot of females who are pro wrestlers. So, I mean, that right there is almost a dream match in and of itself. I mean, a four-way dance between Jazz, Awesome Kong, China, and Beth Phoenix.
Woo, yeah. You know, and Beth, you know, China, Jazz kind of reminds me of the people that like the women from Japan. You know,
very stiff, yeah.
Yeah, like a Bo Nakano in a sense. You know, she take you down. You know, come in there, beat up the little Barbie dolls.
Very hard hitting.
Yeah. So you imagine. But nonetheless, you know, I never thought on an episode of BDuBs Thoughts where I would actually spend about a good 2 or 3 minutes talking about the Divas division.
First time for everything.
You know, and it's so funny, but it just made me think, you know, I really do want to know. You know, I hope China's watching, because I want to know why. Do you think she can beat Karma?
That's a tough one. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and downplay what China has done. I mean, China's a legend in the business. You know, what she's done is just...
Did she beat Jeff Jarrett?
That is true.
You
know, and it's just...
Val Venus.
I mean, she even went at it with Road Dogg and X-Pac at one point.
Oh, yeah.
When her and Billy Gunn tag team back in the day on Smackdown for the rights of the D-Generation X name.
Oh, yeah. You brought back some memories.
Back in the day.
Good old Attitude Era, I tell you.
Yeah.
Remember this logo, ladies and gentlemen? Remember that logo right there, the Attitude Era at its finest.
Ah, the good old days.
Yeah.
You have to excuse us, it's what we grew up on. Hey, it's what it is.
Yeah, well, you know, I even go further back to the days.
Oh boy, here we go.
When they had this belt right there, excuse me, where Hulk Hogan was dominating.
What's with you and Hogan, man?
What you mean? You like Cena?
Oh, listen, I will never downplay Hogan.
Okay.
Hogan has always been who Hogan was, but I'll be honest with you. I didn't really pay attention to Hogan until his second run he got in WCW.
The second one?
The second run. You know, when Hogan was established from the 1980s on up to the early 90s, he was Hulk Hogan, Hulkamania, Run Wild. It runs wild. It always has run wild. It probably always will run wild. But when he became Hollywood Hogan and became the leader of the NWO, I really finally took notice of Hulk Hogan and said, wow, this guy, I really hate this guy, you know, and like, I mean, you always knew Hogan was around. If anybody knows a wrestler, it's Hulk Hogan. But I never paid much attention to him until he really was one of the biggest antagonists, almost in professional wrestling at one time. I mean, you would always see Sting in WCW get the short end of the stick because the NWO was running things. You had Bischoff, who was running the company in the NWO, and it's like, man, who are going to take these guys down? And it was always good to see that power struggle. And Hogan did his job so well. I mean, whether he was doing it within the NWO, feuding with Macho Man or Kevin Nash, while these guys are still in the NWO or against WCW itself. I mean, but hey, that was just the 90s. I mean, that's the Hogan that I remember that made an impact in my eyes, in my opinion, you know, as a part of the business and where he came from. So,
yeah, I tell you, you know, it was. But, ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask the real Dwayne Allen. Who did he think would win the wrestling match between Hogan and John Cena? Both of them in their primes.
In their primes? The question is, has John Cena even hit his prime?
Has he hit his prime?
Has he hit his prime? I mean, just
Cena's getting a little up there.
I don't know. I think he hadn't even cracked his peak. You know, I think he's you know, constantly going, and you know, I think it works. You know, I think Cena is I don't think Cena's even hit his prime yet. I think he's only just getting started. I mean, Cena has a long career ahead of him. I'm not sure he can even. In the match though, let me stop beating around the bush because I'm stalling on purpose. That's what I'm doing. I'm going with John Cena all the way. Yes, I'm saying it right here, right now. John Cena will beat Hulk Hogan in a one-on-one dream match. If you want to challenge me, hit up BDuB on his YouTube page, the website, whatever you got to do. John Cena over Hogan. C Nation over Hulkamania.
We got to go to commercial break on that one.
Oh, now you want to go to commercial break on that one. I ain't trying to hear that, man. John Cena, Hogan, one-on-one in their prime. John Cena's taking out Hogan.
We want to go to commercial break. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, on this another edition of BDuB Starts featuring the real Dwayne Allen.
Yours truly.
So, you know, Dwayne just had a little bit of rent there on Cena and whatever.
Just a little one.
Yeah, you know, get ready to close the show out. Just gonna make a couple of, you know, shout outs. First, I want to wish, put on my get well wishes to Hurricane Shane Helms. If you guys don't know, unfortunately, he and his wife were injured severely in an accident. I've read the report says she suffered a broken neck. He suffered a broken nose, a broken leg, and I believe broken ankle, as well as jaw displacement. So, you know, I want to give best wishes, prayers go out to Shane Helms. You know, I met him at MCW back in September. Very class act. You know, the picture's up on the Facebook page. Very nice guy. You know, I really enjoy, you know, he let me take a picture with him. He wasn't, you know, he wasn't like some of these professional wrestlers, you know. So, you know, we all know he's had his battles about Shawn Michaels and how he feels, but nonetheless, pretty sure even Shawn Michaels is saying a special prayer to him. I also want to give special shout outs. Big thank yous to the following people for letting me get the chance to interview them. And that being Blackout members, Ruckus and Bobby Marino.
Right.
Of course, the one and only the King of Dundalk, Derek Frazier. Mia Yim, Lily Mae, and can't forget about good old Larry Legend. So, you know, I want to give special shout outs. Oh, and without a doubt, you know, I would be in trouble if I miss this guy, the one and only Smith Hart. Ladies and gentlemen, the interviews with Smith Hart, Mia Yim, and Lily Mae, excuse me, are indeed on available on print, and they're on pwjournal.wordpress.com as well as bdubstarts.blogspot.com. You know, and we also, I was telling the real that we want to give a special you know, memory. If you guys don't know, Owen Hart would have celebrated his birthday this month. He would have been 46 years old. You know, we all know that 12 years ago, you know, his life was taken, unfortunately, due to an accident. And if you haven't, make sure you check out the episode of Wrestle Talk with Bear and BDuB, in which titled "The Depths in Professional Wrestling." I promise you, you will enjoy that show. You know, Owen, everybody knows, is one of my favorites. Definitely one of the best in the business. And you gotta check this interview out with Smith Hart. You know, you could tell that he knew his baby brother. You know, Smith was the oldest, if you guys don't know, the oldest of the Hart family.
Right, yeah.
Owen was the youngest, right. You know, and I'm pretty sure those guys were about probably 20, 30 year difference, you know.
Yeah.
They said Bruce was more like Owen's father than he was his big brother.
Right.
Bruce being the second child.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
Right.
You guys gotta check out Heart and Soul if you haven't. You checked out Heart and Soul, the DVD?
Actually, I have not.
Oh man, I gotta let you hold it. It's great. Any Hitman fan, and my biggest Hitman fan out there, a fan of Wrestle Talk with Bear BDuB, my man Cameron G. I'm sure he'll tell you that DVD is good. You know, Cameron's also a writer. Make sure you check him out. Excuse me for not having the mindset of the actual site which he writes on,
right.
But I will make sure it's posted on this video, and make sure you check out us on Facebook. It's Wrestle Talk with Bear and BDuB. You know, I post Cameron's articles on there. But you know, like I said, that DVD is great. But nonetheless, you know, Owen was definitely one of the best. You know, you think he would have made a great WWE champion?
I mean, I think Owen would have made a great WWE champion. He was definitely one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, of our generation. That was taken from us too soon, if you ask. From what I hear from a lot of the wrestlers in the back and stuff like that, he was probably one of the most liked wrestlers, and not just as a professional wrestler, but as a person. His personality was so genuine and true that, you know, I think he got along. I don't think anyone has a negative thing to say about Owen Hart. And if you don't mind, I would like to have a moment of silence as a way to remember him and just to pay homage to one of our favorite wrestlers who spent his life entertaining us and unfortunately ended up dying doing the same thing. So if you don't mind, we just want to have a moment of silence in honor of Owen Hart.
Yeah, but you know, and you say nobody had nothing negative to say, you know. I remember they said Owen was a prankster.
Yeah, he was known for that. That's what I hear.
And even Road Warrior Animal stated that Owen somehow or another, you know, he got that's wrong. Never mind, forget that one. I'm mixing. Nah, you know, because him and Pillman, you know, both of them coming up from Canada, training in the dungeon. They, you know, they get me mixed up. You know, I'm thinking of the time Pillman had actually had Road Warrior Animal's car. Not stolen, but he wrecked it, and you know, it cost him a lot of money. So excuse me for that. You know, like I said, I'm not the wrestling encyclopedia. That is Bear, and you know, he will be returning in just a short period of time. Be on the lookout for him, cause he's coming. We know when Bear's coming.
Oh yeah, we know,
but you don't.
You guys don't,
and we're not going to tell you.
So definitely be on the lookout for the return.
Yeah, because he's sitting there watching right now, and he's commenting.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Oh, he's coming back.
Yeah, but you know, it's funny, and I can't wait to get on the same set with two genuine wrestling fanatics, with the real Dwayne Allen and the one and only wrestling encyclopedia Bear. I tell you, that's gonna be a show right there. That might top the charts. Pro Wrestling Torch, the Wrestling Roundtable, live audio wrestling, I Want Wrestling. Any show you can name it, that might take that up, you know, knock them off the map.
You know what, BDuB, it's funny you say that because for some reason I have this crazy vision in my head. You know what? When you say something about Mr. Main Event himself, the Wrestling Encyclopedia Bear, and yours truly, the real Dwayne Allen, your World Heavyweight Champion, it makes me wonder, like, man, for some strange reason, we've created this realm, this almighty realm of pro wrestling. Interesting. But that's another topic for a different day. Just brainstorming. Don't mind me, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, boy, I can't wait. Man, Raw's coming up. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
Wow, the follow-up to with the second Raw since the draft, I think it'd be pretty interesting to see how they continue to transition with the new talent and how they make their moves into, I guess, the new generation of Raw for this year. I think they have some really good acquisitions. They got a lot of, you know, fresh faces on the brand. I'm looking forward to see the R-Truth and John Morrison beef continue to develop. I think it's good to see. I think they're utilizing people that they've had before. Okay. What I don't agree with a lot of other promotions is they try to give their wrestlers a shot at a program with somebody else. If it doesn't catch on, they sort of throw it away, and that person sort of moves to the back. They try to bring in a new face to keep ratings popping, to keep fans coming, to keep the people on their toes. But I think I like the fact that someone like R-Truth, who was sort of just played his part since he's been in WWE, never in a major storyline, finally getting a program to work with, not necessarily in a title situation or necessarily what you would call a main event push, but something enough to say, okay, you know what, he's got me interested, and I think his heel turn has been marvelous, and a lot of people have suggested and have wanted to see a heel turn for a while now, so I think it's good that the WWE universe has spoken up, and WWE is beginning to take heed to what their fans are saying, and just trying things differently, like R-Truth heel turn. You know, so.
Well, you know what? Before we close out, You just said it best. I could have said it better myself. The second Raw since the draft coming up. What do you think? I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Okay, here we go.
What do you think will be which wrestlers? I'm gonna give you. I want you to give me one from both brands. Which wrestlers you think, or excuse me, superstars you think will be elevated next year around this time? Last year we wouldn't have seen The Miz as WWE champion,
right,
or a former WWE champion,
right,
if we would have looked at last year's Extreme Rules.
Right, exactly.
But this year, it's a whole new ball game, different year. So I'm putting you on the spot. And I want the fans out there to comment too. When they look, I want you to address it on YouTube, address it on the Facebook pages, and address it on BDuB Thoughts on Blogspot. I want you to know, who do you think, give me 2 superstars, one from each show, who will be elevated to the next level? Maybe in the WWE Championship reign, or maybe even bigger than what they are right now.
Okay, I guess we'll start with the flagship show with Raw. I'm going to go on a limb, and I don't have to think twice about this. I say Del Rio.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have to think twice about Del Rio. I mean, the way he's been pushed, and I mean, he has a great look, the in-ring capabilities. He's a star in the making.
Okay.
Smackdown. That's a tough one because, like I said, Smackdown has a wave of talent, and I want to say Sheamus.
Sheamus.
I want to say Sheamus.
Well, you know what? The thing is about the 2 guys you just named, they've both been in WWE Championship matches on a one-on-one basis.
Right.
Not a problem, but you know what? I'm going to go even further down the list.
Okay. And
kind of drag 2 people up who I think will be stars. And
as in the next year around this time.
Yeah, next year around this time. I might be early with this one, but I've been saying it since he came in. And I know he's had some backstage issues, but I really see a star in this guy. He's one of my favorite wrestlers.
Please
on
don't
Raw.
say it. I hope this guy doesn't say what I think he's about to say.
You know it. You know what I'm gonna say.
Come on, man.
It's gonna be the chosen one, Drew McIntyre. I believe he was on Raw for a reason, and I believe next year around this time, he might not be headlining WrestleMania, ladies and gentlemen, but I believe he'll be in one WWE Championship match on a pay-per-view. And when it comes to SmackDown, it's going to be a guy who I recently became a fan of. Didn't like him when he first came in. I thought he was trash,
Just trash.
Honestly, just trash. I just thought he was another second generation superstar hanging on under his father's coattail, riding his big brother's coattail, who barely had a coattail that he even wore, because sometimes you question his character, and that is the one and only dashing Cody Rhodes. I feel that next year around this time, Cody will be elevated. Why not? Look who's the WWE champion.
Okay.
Tell a story. Excuse me. Look who's the World Heavyweight Champion. Can you imagine the match that Cody and Randy? Because you know what I saw, ladies and gentlemen, as Dwayne brought up something to me. He said this, and it made me realize. You saw a wrestler. You saw great in-ring abilities in Randy Orton in his match against Christian. We knew Christian was there, and I'm sorry to borrow your quotes, but it's the truth, and the people need to know the truth. As our truth would say, the gospel truth, that the people knew Christian, the peeps knew Christian could go out there and put on a good in-ring battle. But we didn't. We probably saw one of Randy's best in-ring performances.
Well, I will say the truth shall definitely set you free. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. But I know we're pressed for time and BDuB. I don't mean to cut you short, but I must know, and maybe the fans will know you because I'm going to record say this. I understand your picks, but quite honestly, I just don't see it right now. But maybe you see something that I don't see, or the rest of the wrestling fans out there may not see it. Why do you feel that at this point in their lives, what do you see in them that you say, you know what, in a year's time, these guys will be legit main eventers and eventually world champions within the WWE universe?
Because we're in a transition period. To me,
okay, true.
I've been watching wrestling for 24 years.
That's a long time, ladies and gentlemen.
And one thing I've noticed the different transition periods.
True. Yes.
95, right after the Bret era, right around the time Diesel was running things, had the belt. That was a transition period. WWE was in search of something. They were, and then when Diesel left and Shawn got the belt, yeah, but before Diesel, while Diesel had the belt, it was grooming Shawn, in my opinion. Before Diesel, it was Bret. But that was the time where Bret was being groomed, being worked as a great champion. and we were building for bigger things, you know.
Right.
Then Shawn got the belt. Then you had the transition period from that era, the new generation, as they called it, to the Attitude Era.
Right. That makes sense.
There was another transition period. Then WrestleMania 21 was another transition period.
I agree. Definitely.
Where we seen Cena and Batista.
Right.
You know.
They sort of carried the ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then at WrestleMania 26, those two fought each other for the World Heavyweight Championship. Excuse me, the WWE Championship. You know, so we've seen a lot of transition periods. And that's what I feel right now. We're in another one. So right now, I really see those two. And I hope I'm not wrong. But, you know, I'm pretty sure you fans out there will correct me. But I really see McIntyre and Rhodes in that title hunt.
Maybe McIntyre. Rhodes, I'm not sure about his look. I think he's a little skinny. I mean, I just I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm not saying that Rhodes doesn't have what it takes. It's just right now I don't see what you see. You know what I'm saying? McIntyre maybe, because like I said, I think if you get the right machine behind him, you know, it's because at one point I was behind McIntyre, but then he sort of fell into the cracks, and now I don't see, you know, how he can, you know, I guess come out of it, you know. Okay. I was surprised you didn't say Jack Swagger.
He's been there already, so, you know, I mean, to me, him being there, it'd be just like he'll be back, you know. I mean, Swagger's nice, but not really sure, you know. But those are my big predictions, ladies and gentlemen. Is there anything final that you want to say to the fans out there?
Thanks for joining us, you know, for a very special edition of BDuB Starts. It's definitely been a pleasure to be with my man, Mr. Main Event himself, Mr. Wonderful, BDuB.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you now, you're going to be seeing this guy a lot. I'm pretty sure, you know, and like I said, it's going to be an episode coming soon. Before you know it, it'll be right there in your living rooms, your bedrooms, or on your iPhones or your smartphones, in which you will be seeing it. I don't know if the camera will be big enough for that, you know.
I know, we got to expand.
We might have to have that on a big stage, where we have the real Mr. Main Event himself and the wrestling encyclopedia himself all in the same room. This might be the best thing since Stone Cold, The Rock, and Triple H. That never happened.
I don't hear a difference.
You know?
Sounds the same to me.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this episode of BDuB Starts, featuring the one, the only, the real Dwayne Allen. As I do at the end of every show, make sure you check out the one and only, the show in which every male should watch if they have a female in their life, and every female should watch if they need advice from other females, and that is the AC Ray Show, featuring Stacy, Tracy, and Desiree. You can check them out on their website. Also check out the Facebook page, and I promise you will enjoy it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on another episode of BDuB Starts.